When you're new to selling on Etsy, you may see a lot of messages like this pop up. And chances are these are scammers trying to steal information from you. I've been selling on Etsy for multiple years and I've seen it all. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to identify different scammers, different methods that they try to use, and also show you how to secure your account so that you have a safe Etsy shop launch. So let's get right into it. In this video, I'll be using a lot of references from this guide directly from Etsy, showing all the different ways on how to protect your shop. And I'll add a link in the descriptions if you want to take a further look. But let's get right into it. The number one and most important part I want to talk about is don't interact with suspicious messages. This is probably the number one thing that you will get when people are trying to scam a new seller on Etsy. This has happened to me and also my students. When you first launch your shop, it's a very exciting time. It's a huge milestone when you are creating all your products, you're launching it, and you're finally getting seen in the public eyes. And that is where scammers like to take advantage of it. That is when they want to take the opportunity to send you messages, trying to capitalize on that momentum and hopefully try to scam you. So make sure that these are legit messages that you're getting. They're not fake buyers. These are people who are not pretending to be Etsy support. And I'll show you some examples, but let's look at this one here. Scammers often use a sense of urgency or alarming language to get people to share information quickly. So don't click on any links and provide any personal information. Etsy support will never ask you to share account or personal information via email, via Etsy message, or social media. Here are just a couple messages that I personally got from a new shop that I created. I'll see if I can make this larger so you can take a look at these messages. But a lot of them are pretending to be Etsy support. You can see the name says support, Etsy support. Some of them are telling you that, hey, there's been a purchase made, you need additional information. Some are saying that your store is temporarily suspended unless you complete the verification steps. And some could just say that, hey, congratulations, you made your first sale, but you'll need to provide additional information. Maybe some of the shipping information is missing, right? Could be anything. And they'll just make up things for you to click on external links or just extract more information from you. And again, this was a shop that opened up in January, as you can see on the dates there, literally the next day. So I opened up January 13th, and the following day is when I got bombarded with all of these messages. Here's a closer look to one of the messages. It says, "Dear seller, this is an automated message from the Etsy technical support. The buyer has paid for your item. Please provide your email to this chat to identify payment." The buyer does not have access to it. All right, so it's messages like this where it seems like it's legit, right? It looks real. Even down here, Etsy will usually give you a notification letting you know that, hey, if there's a message that seems suspicious, make sure to check these out. Buyers will never need your email to purchase an item. Real messages from Etsy will always have a badge or the Etsy staff label, which I'll show you what that looks like later in this video. And the Etsy support will not call you unless you've requested a call from our help center. Even Etsy understands that there's a lot of these going on and they're doing their best to mitigate this. Now let's go to the second point here. Know who you're talking to. Only visit links with trusted sources. Your account can get compromised with just a simple click of a link. Most of the time, I never click on any links that people send message to unless necessary, but that's a very rare case. I've been selling on Etsy for many, many years now, and I never actually need to click on any links that are through the Etsy messaging app. Scammers may try to impersonate Etsy staff through emails or Etsy messages or via phone, all right? So if you come down here, you look at this Etsy staff label, that is what it will look like if they are someone that is legit. If someone messages you claiming to be an Etsy employee and you do not see this verified icon, do not reply. Instead, you can just mark it as suspicious and also mark it as spam. Now that we've talked about a couple ways on how to identify scammers who are trying to take advantage of new seller accounts, let's look at some other ways to secure your shop in general so that people can't try to hack into your account and steal your information. So number one is enable the two-factor authentication. And this is really common for most apps, most websites these days. So hopefully that's something you do in general for all of your apps. It's something I definitely do for everything that I have linked to my business, right? Personal use and things like that. But turning on the two-factor authentication adds an extra layer of protection to your Etsy account. And this means that even if someone gets their hands on your password, they will still need to have your physical device to gain access to the account. And please note that once you've enabled the two-factor authentication, you don't need to enter the verification code every single time that you sign in. You only be prompted to provide the code every 30 days, or if you are signing in from a new device. Next, I want to note is communicate and transact on Etsy. So Etsy says they recommend to use Etsy messages to stay in touch with buyers. And this will help Etsy support assist you with anything that happens. If there's any issues that arise with the buyers, with the sellers, right? Anything like that, it'll be on record, right? It's all in the Etsy Messenger app. If you make your payments and transactions outside of Etsy, Etsy won't know and they won't be able to help you if anything happens. Next is to keep your contact details up to date. Having a current phone number and email address on file means that you're able to verify and authenticate your account with the two-factor authentication that we talked about earlier. And this way you can make sure to receive all of the different important notifications from Etsy, such as different activity alerts. Next one is also a very important one, which is limit the access to your account. It's always a good idea to limit access to your account to only people who are truly using it, that are actually doing customer service, maybe they're fulfilling orders and they need access to the account. Because whatever happens in there, you are 100% responsible for the activities that goes on within your account. So a lot of times, if you're in my program, we talk about outsourcing. Once you get to a certain level on your Etsy store, you want to maybe outsource customer service, maybe have a team behind you fulfilling the different orders. Then you need to start to share your password around, and that can get a little scary. So just a side tip, if you do end up needing help with your store, I always like to give micro tasks for new virtual assistants, things that are external from the account. Maybe it's graphic design work, maybe is some product creation. Once I gain trust from them, then I'll give them access to my account and that they can have more control within the platform. But there's that period where you need to build that trust with your different virtual assistants, right? But that's something we talk a lot more about within the program. But in general, keep it limited to the amount of people who have access to your store as possible. The next step is to keep financial and tax information up to date. So you want to make sure that your taxpayer information is complete and accurate. Verifying this information will help prevent your account from being flagged or being suspended, right? And just another side note, a lot of times people will get their shop suspended if they have the wrong information or just not completed information. And that's it for this video. These are very simple tips and tricks that you can use to ensure that you have a safe Etsy shop, that you don't get hacked, that you're able to identify scammers if they do come. Because trust me, they'll probably try if you haven't launched your shop yet, but when you do, best of luck, you're gonna do great. Just make sure to avoid some of these messages, okay? Because that will happen. But don't worry about it. You can easily just report them to Etsy, and over time, they'll disappear, okay? It's only the initial part when they try to take advantage of new sellers. And that is it for this video. If you want to learn more about how to successfully sell on Etsy, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification button, and I try to make videos once a week for you, okay? So until then, I'll see you in the next video.